And now here's somebody else quote mining in similar vein.
Well, then who did create the heavens and the earth?
Why do you use the word who? You see, you immediately beg the question by using the word who.
Well, then how did it get created?
Well, by a very slow process.
Well, how did it start?
Nobody knows how it started. We know the kind of event that it must have been. We know the sort of event that must have happened for the origin of life.
And what was that?
It was the origin of the first self-replicating molecule.
Right, and how did that happen?
I told you we don't know.
So you have no idea how it started?
No, nor has anybody.
Nor has anyone else. What do you think is the possibility that intelligent design might turn out to be the answer to some issues in genetics or in evolution?
It could come about in the following way. It could be that at some earlier time, somewhere in the universe, a civilization evolved by probably some kind of Darwinian means to a very, very high level of technology and designed a form of life that they seeded onto perhaps this planet. Now, that is a possibility and an intriguing possibility. And I suppose it's possible that you might find evidence for that if you look at the details of biochemistry, molecular biology. You might find a signature of some sort of designer.
Wait a second. Richard Dawkins thought intelligent design might be a legitimate pursuit?
And that designer could well be a higher intelligence from elsewhere in the universe. Well, but that higher intelligence would itself have had to have come about by some explicable or ultimately explicable process. It couldn't have just jumped into existence spontaneously. That's the point.
So Professor Dawkins was not against intelligent design, just certain types of designers, such as God.
So the Hebrew God, the God of the Old Testament, he doesn't exist in your view?
Certainly. I mean, that would be a very unpleasant prospect.
And the Holy Trinity of the New Testament?
Nothing like that.
Do you believe in any of the Hindu gods? Like Vishnu?
How can you ask such a question?
You don't,
how,
right?
How could I? I mean, why would I, given that I don't believe in any others?
You don't believe in the Muslim God?
No. I mean, why do you even need to ask?
Well, I just wanted to be sure. So you don't believe in any God anywhere?
Any God anywhere would be completely incompatible with anything that I've said.
I assume. Yeah. I just wanted to make sure. You don't believe in any God anywhere?
No.
What if after you died you ran into God? He said, "What have you been doing, Richard? I mean, what have you been doing? I've been trying to be nice to you. Yeah. I gave you a multi-million-dollar paycheck over and over again with your book, and look what you did."
Bertrand Russell had that point put to him, and he said something like, "Sir, why did you take such pains to hide yourself?" I, at that time, had never heard of Ben Stein, and I had been duped by a man called Mathis into taking part in a film which I thought was a serious exploration of science and religion. That's what I was told. I only much later discovered that it was a creationist front and that I had been fooled into doing something that I would never normally have done. When I spoke to Ben Stein, I took him seriously. I thought he was, well, until the end of that interview, as you saw. And when he asked me that question, something like, could you ever imagine any kind of intelligent design, I bent over backwards to try to give intelligent design its best shot. Its best shot for me was something like design by an alien intelligence, something like what Francis Crick and Leslie Orgel had proposed as directed panspermia. I don't believe in that. I didn't believe in that. I never said I did believe in that. But I was trying to bend over backwards to give intelligent design its best shot. I was actually being even more generous than that because knowing at the time nothing about Ben Stein and just trying to give my honest opinion, I recalled that Dembski the leading theorist of intelligent design, at a time when he was trying to distance himself from creationism. They are, of course, all straight down the line Christian creationists, but nevertheless, it was a time when, for political reasons in American educational politics, Dembski was anxious to distance intelligent design from creationism. And he tried to help that distancing along by protesting that the intelligent designer doesn't have to be God, it could be an alien from outer space. Dembski said that. I actually remembered that when Ben Stein asked me that question, and I thought I was actually offering Dembski an olive branch by acknowledging his admittedly disingenuous suggestion that the intelligent designer might not be God, but might be an alien from outer space. So the quote mining in that case was even worse than it appears. And that is what I actually said to Ben Stein. They actually didn't even cut that bit. They apparently didn't even realize that that was the bit to cut. I made that point. Once again, I was bending over backwards, and once again, it was a case of quote mining. The important point is that anything that could have the attributes of an intelligence, including God's, could not just happen. They would have to have come about by a gradual, incremental process.